Hello there. Welcome to Press X to continue for May 2025. Joining me today is just Jason. Robbie is doing some very exciting personal stuff that we'll see if we can share later. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. Just ready to keep talking about the wonderful Switch 2 news mostly. I mean, let's be honest, isn't that dominating the news cycle lately?
It really is. I forgot to hit record. Okay, let's start that again. I forgot to hit the record on my audio recorder. So we're going to start, and the video people, you get to get this way. Um, Hello there. Welcome to Press X to continue for May 2025. Joining me today is just Jason. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great, Tim. How about yourself?
I can't complain. It's been just nonstop Switch news, and the Switch 2 has reinvigorated my love of the original Switch as well. It's been kind of just a Nintendo love fest around here.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm almost afraid to get too reattached to the Switch 1 because I want everything on my Switch 2. I'm ready. I'm next gen. I'm ready for the next.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting when 2 lands. How my playtime will change with that versus the older Switch hardware. Because like certain games, like as we'll talk about Final Fantasy VII, the original back from 2001 or whatever, still
97.
runs very well. 97, yeah, still runs very well in the original Switch. So like stuff like that, I don't know if I'll, you know, as we'll talk about. Yeah, so I'll be curious to see how much I break away and just abandon it completely, or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as we'll talk about, we have digital game sharing in a way we'll talk about. I've had experiences with it now, and we've got some thoughts, and we'll a lot to dive into here.
Oh, you you
Um,
you were able to like set up a test with the new system type thing?
yeah, I've got some games
Oh.
on the OLED and some on the light, as we'll talk about, and it's kind of a cool, and it gives me some some insight as to like when people get the Switch 2, how they may incorporate the original Switch. And I think the whole game sharing thing will inspire people to keep that original Switch. So, like, on multiplayer nights, you can give an old Switch to someone and they can play Switch 2 games with the Wii U kind of technology.
I don't remember how many consoles can it share to at one time for like local play.
Three. You can have your Switch 2 plus 3 other Switches. So, a 4-player game can be done through this Wii U technology. We finally have the dream of the multi gamepad games. Now, my hope is one day you'll have TV games that can use a Switch as just the controller, Wii U style. Like, let's bring back the gamepad through a second Switch.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what all they do with that. Like I've never played, for example, the Jackbox Party Pack games, but considering those games have people pull out phones to all connect at one time, I wonder if you could do something similar to have a game that runs on the Switch 2 and download a bunch of clients to the Switch 1 to play it. You know what I mean?
And yeah, the client, and it's not even that. It's no downloads on the Switch. It's all just streaming from the Switch 2.
Yeah. Well,
Like the Wii U. Yeah.
I
Which is
guess I
way
meant
different from how it was before with the DS style sharing. But yeah, I'm super curious if later on in the generation, after Nintendo's more confident that they don't have a Wii U on their hands, that they'll let you do the gamepad thing with the second Switch.
you
Like
know
that'd be
what?
so cool. The port, Zombie U to the Switch 2 port.
Can
Yeah.
I just get Nintendo Land?
Nintendo Land, let's have the Wind Waker HD remaster on Switch 2 let you do the gamepad thing when you're on TV and you have a second Switch here and buy. Because it's called
I
game share. I don't know if they'll enable like single game share like as a thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I am definitely, it is one of the features I am more interested in and curious about. Um, I'm more interested in game sharing than I am in the virtual game card stuff they've got.
Sure.
Uh,
As a physical collector yourself as well. But yeah, it's super fascinating that they made it work from the Switch 2 to original Switches,
man,
which have crappy Wi-Fi chips and like I don't know what voodoo they're doing with that. It's
yeah.
amazing.
When they announced it in the first place, because it was part of their first big
Yeah,
reveal,
we talked about it a
I
little bit on the last episode, I think. Yeah.
I was sure I heard wrong when they said it would be able to. I was like, no, I just misunderstood. But man, this is Nintendo being Nintendo. This is Nintendo being the crazy toy company that just does things different. Could you imagine if Sony came out and said, "Hey, you got a PlayStation 4 you don't want to turn in? Well, your PlayStation 5 will become a media hub for your whole house and you can loan yourself, but they don't do that. And
Yeah, the only things that Sony has done on the PS4, there is a remote play app. So if you have a PS4 in your bedroom, you can remote play your PS5 into your PS4, I believe. But I'm not even sure if you can do PS5 games on your PS4 that way or not, or if it's
yeah,
only remote playing PS4 to PS4 games.
I don't know, but I will also say that you and I both know I don't have the same relationship with remote play that you
You
do.
no.
It simply doesn't work for me. As a matter of fact, even now, I mean, I'm glad I have the portal, but the portal for me is almost exclusively for game streaming because using it in my house with an 802.11 AG Wi-Fi network and
Oh, that
fiber optic
not
internet.
good.
No, not 802.11 AG. I mean, I think AX.
Jason, I can remote play on my lunch break at work over cellular. It's that good for me.
But I don't get it. I mean, there's my PlayStation 5 is hardlined in. I have fiber optic internet that I regularly get 800
I
megabits a
have
second.
crappier internet than you do, which is the
Mhm.
funny thing. It's wild. So yeah, but the Wii U technology, it should be. Yeah, I'm curious to test that. I'm also curious adoption. How many developers will take advantage of this? I don't think Mario Kart World Tour has been announced with this
I
support.
thought that was, as a matter of fact, that was one thing I was looking forward to specifically because my whole family loves Mario Kart. And with
Yeah,
that download support, my wife, God bless her soul, does not like sharing a screen.
I don't blame her. Yes, I hope it's there. I'm not sure if it is though. Yeah, and I hope this becomes a widespread feature of more and more games. Yeah. So
I'll
since
also, more than anything, though, I'd like to say I'm glad that it's not dying because most people don't understand. They just took for granted how absolutely amazing that Wii U streaming technology was. The absolute no latency and the speed of it. That is one of the most impressive things. Yeah, that is one of the most impressive things Nintendo managed to pull off in terms of just hardware. I'm glad they didn't leave it dead and found a way to use it for something else.
yeah, Wii U got ridiculed, but that streaming tech was no joke amazing.
It didn't get ridiculed by me. I bought three.
Yeah, no, I love my Wii U. It's hooked up right now. I've got Metroid Prime 2. I started it, but I didn't go any further than just getting it booted because I'm waiting for the June Direct to see if we will get 2 and 3 before 4 comes out. I have a I played the first. I finished the first one, and I'm dying to know. I guess don't you think they did? So they did Pikmin 2. They did Pikmin 1 and 2 right before 4 came out. It seems like they could just shadow drop this thing 2 and 3, and then you have the summer to play those in preparation of 4.
Man, look, I Nintendo is the hardest company to predict. They're not going to do the logical thing just because it's the logical thing. Because, like you pointed out, they re-released Pikmin 1 and 2, but heck, they could have done another release on 3 or done a sale on 3. I mean, there's uh,
Well, they re-released 3 on the Switch. That was a Wii U game originally.
was it?
Yep.
But even that,
it was a Wii U game. Yep.
Nintendo is not known for making the most logical decisions with stuff like
No,
this.
so they could totally have this. This could have been ready for years, and they're just ready to shadow drop it this summer and the June Direct. Maybe it's even a Switch 2 enabled one with mouse support, because they did do enhanced controls on Prime Remastered with modern controls. Plus, there was the motion, but maybe they went as far as let's put the mouse controls into the 2 and 3 remastered, and
That would be really interesting. I might buy the game again and maybe finally play it.
yes.
Me and my weird collection buying problem.
Yeah, it's funny. I own it on disc, and I also own the digital $10 copy on the Wii U, and that's the weirdest thing in the world. So you open up the Wii U, and the Wii games that you bought on the Wii U are in the Wii U OS, and you hit that, it boots it into Wii mode to play that game, and if you hit go to the Wii menu from the Wii menu, it it doesn't do that. It reboots it back into the Wii U. It's the
Yeah,
most bonkers
dude,
experience ever.
As much as I loved the Wii U, yeah, its Wii backwards compatibility was so weird,
It was
difficult.
very weird. I mean, and you can just boot in the Wii OS, and I have the disc. And I can pop the disc in and do it that way. I need to test if this. I imagine the save file will be identical between the two, but I need to test that actually.
That's a dangerous question that I'm definitely not equipped to answer.
Yeah, but yeah. So I have 2 and 3 ready to go with that trilogy thing on the Wii, but I'm waiting for that June Direct because I think
I,
we may hear news.
I was about to say, am I just forgetting something that you shared? Did they announce a June direct date that I'm not?
No, I'm just
Ah,
assuming every June they have a direct, and surely they're gonna have a direct right after the Switch launches with some announcements for the rest
yeah,
of the year.
that's just it. With the Switch launching in June, I'm not so certain there will be a direct right away. Hmm.
My hunch is they will. I think Summer Games Fest and this whole summer they want to showcase stuff, and they could give us some more clarity as to the fall, and um maybe it'll be like a couple weeks before Donkey Kong, and they can do the final push for that because Donkey Kong's in early July, so it could be June 20th or something like that, and they can. So I
Yeah, but
think yeah,
I think that personally, it has been my passive observation that since E3 officially died, Nintendo doesn't care about the June/summer announcement cycle. They
they.
simply don't care.
But they've still done directs in June
Not every
consistently.
not every June. As a matter of fact, the first 2 Junes that there wasn't an E3, when E3 was canceled, so it's like you would have thought they had something ready to go. They never released anything that year. It is
Huh.
not every year that they've released something in June, especially since E3's done.
That is fascinating. Okay, so I'm pulling up the Nintendo Direct Wikipedia entry.
I guess, yeah. Let's see if
And
I'm wrong. Let's see if I've got
let's
some
see if
bias.
we have a complete list of presentations. Here we go. Wow. I just Googled this. It's like surely there's a Wikipedia
Oh, I'm
of
sure.
this information. Okay, then there is. Okay. So how far back do we want to go here? 2020?
I would say 19 if you could get it, but yeah,
Yeah,
2020.
19. Okay, 2019. We had oh, that was E3. We had E3 2019 June 11th,
Okay.
Nintendo Switch games.
Yeah.
So that was still E3 year. Um and then July 30th we had the Smash Ultimate DLC Direct. But so we'll fast forward a year to 2020 then. June 2020, we had oh, interesting, Jason. Interesting. Your memory may be good. We had June 22nd, 2020, we had a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate
That was
Mr.
the only
Sakurai
one that
presents Min Min. So that was just an announcement of Min Min.
that was the only one that
Uh,
month.
that was the only one that month. Yeah, it wasn't until August we had a special one just for China. I didn't know this. China had a special direct just for China about Ring Fit Adventure. But yeah, you're
Oh,
right. We didn't have a summer direct that year,
while
2020.
you're looking at the other dates and scrolling something to share because you mentioned Ring Fit. Come to find out, apparently Ring Fit will work with the Switch 2. You just got to make sure and pair of Switch One Joy Cons
I
to
love
it.
this. I mean, it makes total sense since like the Joy
Yeah,
Cons do pair. Yeah, so I love
yeah.
that still works. I need to play that game. I own it.
You
It's
haven't
hard
played
for me
it
to.
at all?
No, it's hard. My TV room is not a good room for exercise, so I need to find a way to play that better.
Okay, but wait a minute, wait. You say that, but remember, this was built with Japanese space and sensibilities in mind. It really is made for like stationary exercises. I mean, if
You
you
have to
have
lay
room,
down though, and I'm
oh,
tall.
okay, but that's just it. Do you have room? Can you stand in a room with arm span and turn, basically? That is the extent of the room you would need. Because even when laying down, you've got your legs in front of you, but you're not totally laying down. They don't do they'll have leg lifts and stuff like that. I very much like the exercises. I think
Okay.
you can make a lot of you can do a lot more exercises than you think, but significantly more importantly, if you're limited on space, you can select what once you because you like unlock
Uh huh.
additional exercises, and you can select what exercises it even has available for you to use.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah,
also don't have a super huge TV, so it's like I'm looking up and it's just a bad angle and all that. Yeah. At some point, I need to give it a shot though. Again, so June 2021, we had a Nintendo Direct for E3 2021. We still had E3 back then, I guess.
that was it came back a year.
a year. Yep. So we had a direct for that, and then 2022, we're looking at um a June direct, but it was just for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, June
That's what they
22nd.
started. Yeah, they did a couple of years like that. I don't count those for the E3 Direct.
Yeah, we had a mini direct a week later with like a partner showcase.
Yep,
Um,
not the same thing as E3.
Not the
Let's be
same
honest.
thing. You are right. September was the next real direct with the blowout. 2023, out of curiosity. We did have a June direct in 2023. Switch games releasing the second half of 2024.
Yeah, the last 2 years we did, but
Or
again,
wait, that was. Yeah, wait. Okay, yeah. So let's see. I messed that up.
no, you're fine.
So,
Yeah, but
yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, 2023, 2024, we had directs in June showcasing games from the second half of 2023. June 2023 was Pikmin 4. And then 2024, June 18th, there's just games for the second half. So,
yeah.
yeah, past 2 years we have had June direct. So
But
they
honestly, like I
could,
said,
yeah.
with E3 being done though, you can see sometimes they're not afraid to just say no. We don't really care about a big showcase. It's one of the things about Nintendo that's borderline annoying is sometimes they treat their fans like the enemy.
Yeah, my hunch is they will though, because I think they've been developing a lot of stuff for Switch 2 that they're just eager to show off a little bit more, and keep that hype train rolling with the
I,
new console launching. But it could be not. They could wait till September. They really
this
could.
is one I will happily be wrong. I just try to couch my expectations because Nintendo's gonna Nintendo.
Yep, for sure. So since we last chatted, we chatted basically the day of the Switch 2 announcement, or the day after, and we were all excited for the pre-orders that were going to take place just the next week.
And then
then,
I had
yeah,
car problems that my disposable income is kind of really thin right now.
yeah.
So I still got in queue, even though the queue failed me. I was not able to secure my own pre-order. Not sure I really can, but I am lucky and I know a guy.
You do.
I actually, please share the wonders of your night, Tim.
So, well, I was just going to share first off, we didn't get a pre-order that following week. We had to wait a good 2 or 3 weeks because Nintendo got scared off by the tariffs that were announced the same day as the Switch, and I thought, they won't delay the pre-order, and then nope, they surely did. They were scared off, and then they came back with, thankfully, the great news. I think you were more worried about console prices rising than me, but same console price, and then the accessories are basically $5 or $10 more depending on what they are.
And
So I think overall, very good news, and especially related to Xbox's price increase, they're looking really strong against that Series S. I'll tell you.
they really are. The price increase of the Xbox series of consoles, or the series, I don't even know how to
Yes,
refer to
it's
that.
the
Anyway,
series generation. Yes.
yeah. But the price increase there, didn't the PS5 do a price increase
Only internationally, they're holding firm in America for now.
for
And
now? Yeah,
Sony, honestly, that's quite the bargain. $400 and you get Astrobot, or I think it's 430 with Astrobot or something. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
Compared to Xbox, especially.
But it really is changing the dynamics on affordability and value of that
Mm-hmm.
console. Again, I'd like to point out once again, I predicted the price. I was right, and I'm comfortable with the 450 price slash $500 with with
I'll
Mario
tell
Kart.
you, Switch Lite compared to the Xbox Series S is a much better entry point in the gaming for a lot of people. That,
That too.
yep.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
so
old hardware, but anyways.
but while I was worried they would raise the price of the console, but I'll be honest with you, the fact that they didn't, while I'm happy about that, what they did do is raise the already exorbitant accessory prices. Like, man,
Yeah.
Nintendo is pulling a Sony like they did with the PS Vita and the PSP about like proprietary memory cards that were stupid expensive, except they're doing it for everything. All of the accessories are ridiculously priced.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's are expensive. Controllers are just so damn expensive these days. Even like Xbox, they jack their rates, and they're using tech that's like Xbox One era, where they're using AA batteries still.
Whoa,
Uh,
I'm not judging for that. As a matter of fact,
you
in this
like the
day,
batteries, yeah.
I like the option. That's what I like the most about the Xbox controller is the option to get a rechargeable pack or to
For
simply.
but it's a $20 like surcharge if you want a real battery that you don't have to worry about replacing the
sh-
double A's in.
Sure, but I also have a recharger with dozens of double A's in my house.
Okay, yeah, yeah. But anyways, I mean, their controllers themselves, they haven't been really.
But
It's the
also,
same controller since they've had since Xbox One,
but like
basically.
amiibos are $30 a piece now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So the consoles they're made in Vietnam, which is very helpful for
I didn't
these
realize.
waters. Yeah, consoles are Vietnam, but amiibos I'm sure are made in China, which is why those got jacked up as high as they did. I'm sure. Yeah, some stuff is made. Some accessories are in China, so that's probably where they're doing it. But yeah, and I'm curious how many they import into the United States. It seems like a lot based on the pre-order quantities we got here. But it's wild. As far as Xbox, the Series X with 2 terabytes is $730. Now the PS5 Pro is also 2 terabytes, and that is $730 cheaper. But if you want a disk drive, you need to pay to get that. So it's a little bit more if you want a disk drive, but it's a lot more powerful. So it's like who in the right mind would buy an Xbox at this point?
Yeah,
It's
this is a second not good looking generation from Microsoft. But I'll be honest with you, I really feel like Microsoft is still in it for the long game because everything they've been doing with the cloud, and I Xbox is better positioned for the long game.
They are, but at the same time, Sony's cloud strategy is slowly shoring up in their performance. Of like, you have a portal, like it's pretty decent. I think their end goal there is any PS5 game you buy will be streamable on the portal and other devices. And I think eventually that's going to be like Microsoft's advantage is slowly decreasing there because
Hmm.
they had a huge lead, and then Sony kept on slowly but surely doing more and more. And then I was listening to another podcast. They got rid of their Xbox streaming app. You now have to do this on a website. Like someone was owned like a handheld that was based off I think Android or whatever, and their app is no longer there. I believe iOS is the same, where it forces you now to go to the website, which was a bit laggy for this person, so they had to buy a third party app to do the Xbox streaming, at least from the console, and which is kind of crappy
I was
thing to
not
do.
aware of that.
Yeah,
But again, I mean,
it was a recent change. So streaming from the console itself now requires, I think, the website is what I've heard, which
yeah,
is less than great. Yeah,
that's definitely no bueno.
but yeah, I mean, Xbox's strategy, of course, is they're going to sell you all of their games on PlayStation, and I'd imagine this summer we're going to get a blowout of Switch 2 announcements from Xbox. I think that'll happen. We'll get at least a couple announcements, I think.
What all do you think we're going to get?
Whew. What's coming out later this year? Do you think Indiana Jones is coming over? I think that would be a natural fit. They want that everywhere, I think.
It seems like they want that everywhere because they bought it. So I guess it's possible. Me, I wasn't really moved by that. Indie is just not my property.
Sure.
Uh,
Um, I mean, Forza should come over. I don't know. Like, it's weird because that came out
okay,
on PlayStation. I don't know.
we're far enough away from the announcement. Is it a fever dream or are we're getting Master Chief Collection, right?
No, it has not been announced yet. The
That was
Gears of
rumored.
War, the original, is being remastered and be released on PlayStation for like $40, I think.
Gears of War was one I missed, but I'm curious as well because yes, I do like Microsoft's, not just got to release it on our own strategy. Personally, it's never going to happen with Nintendo, but maybe it'll encourage Sony to start releasing their games on other platforms too, other than PC.
Less likely.
Um,
They have a more thriving console business. And then Call of Duty, of course, is definitely coming to Switch this year. It'll be $80, I think, because they announced their games. At least some of them will be $80. Do you think
mhm.
Nintendo gave them permission on this with Mario Kart, or would they
I
have done
think
this anyways?
I think if they reached the point that they were increasing prices, they were going to do that anyways. Nintendo doing it made it easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, you pointing to Nintendo and saying that they did it, so we're doing it, is such a fallacy and a false comparison
Yeah.
because
It made the
one of the
PR
reasons,
less of a nightmare for them.
yeah, but one of the reasons I don't like Nintendo doing it is because the reason it's more expensive is because Nintendo has their stupid proprietary cartridges that they insist on charging more for with less storage.
Well,
The Switch carts
I
are a
mean,
proprietary thing. So
sure. I mean, they're using basically so the Switch cartridges. They're using the faster read write speed to make them. You don't need to install them unless you get one of those stupid game key card things.
yeah, but I
But
guess
yeah,
the fact of the matter is you have to pay more for the card because their cards are more expensive and have less storage, and they charge you more for cards with more storage. Remember, there were
sure. But
you
I
know
mean, Nintendo isn't.
that's all Nintendo.
Sure, no, but Nintendo's not charging themselves money. I
They
mean,
may not be
they can get
charging
those
themselves.
cards. Yeah,
Yeah, but they are charging. That this goes back to like NES level Nintendo strategy. Back in the NES days, Nintendo would limit the number of cartridges that they would allow a developer or a publisher to have to be able to print games type of thing to
yeah,
limit the market. Now we're going back to that where no, we're going to control it by these are the carts and or the cartridges and we're going to control the cost and the capacity and all of that and sell these to people and make them have to buy these overpriced cartridges that have no storage capacity, especially when compared to optical media.
I mean, so the 64 gigabytes, I believe, right?
Uh,
Um,
some cards are up to 64
no,
gigabytes.
I've heard with Switch 2, it's 64 gigabytes or game key card, and that's it for now. So hopefully that changes very soon because that's why like we have so many game key cards because games are a lot smaller than that for
Um,
many games.
well,
But yeah,
but that's fine. That helps prove my point. Where they're going to use, they don't want to pay to have a smaller card. It just,
I think it's just ramping up production and it's easier to mass produce the same storage at first, and hopefully later on that changes. And that's why this game keycard thing's so rampant because like those I'm sure are dirt cheap for developers. I'm definitely I don't buy physical media. I will be buying Cyberpunk on physical to show my support of that. That seems crazy cool.
what what about Elden Ring, Night Rain or whatever that is? Considering it's going to have extra content in it.
I'm probably gonna end up with that game. Let's be real.
You
Even
know
though
what?
it's so weird though, like, do I really want to go through that experience again? I have this character built up to like level 200 or whatever in my PS5. Like, do I really want to start from scratch again? I don't know. Like, it'd be nice to have that on my Switch, but I'm not sure if I'd go through to completion again.
Yeah, see that I think that game may fall under a category because I never played Elden Ring the first time. I like Souls likes and everything Soulsborne games, but I don't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for them type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm tempted to buy it just to support games on the platform that I like.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not afraid to buy a game just to say, please, even if I'm not interested in this game, make more games like this on the console.
Yeah. No, in Cyberpunk, I was blown away. The demo we saw the direct and at all these events going on, that was 6 weeks of them just getting it onto the platform as quickly as possible, and they're doing extensive work up until launch, I presume, to make that even better. So it seems like an easy platform to do ports on that actually run pretty well
Yeah,
in a
I'm
quick
actually,
time. Yeah.
and I'm really curious about that because if I remember correctly, the Switch 2 is basically kind of like the GameCube to the Wii. The Switch to the Switch 2 is realistically the same thing but on steroids.
No,
Like,
but it's different though.
but
Like one thing baffling to me, Switch 1 games, they need to do some kind of software translation to make them run on Switch 2. It's not backwards compatibility. It's a software. It's not emulation, but it's close to that. So
okay,
it's not like it's not like a more powerful Switch. It's like a different chipset in a
okay, no,
way different
but
way. Yeah.
actually that's the problem. It's not a different chipset. That's the point I was getting at. Is
Yeah. Yeah.
they're both based off of a NVIDIA Tegra ARM core.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much you or any viewers are familiar with microarchitecture of CPUs, but Xbox and PlayStation both use what's called x86 architecture,
Yep.
which for the layperson, it's the equivalent of saying
A PC.
they speak in English, right?
Yeah, it's a PC
Uh,
basically. Yeah.
ARM microarchitecture is completely different, and it's the equivalent of saying they speak Chinese. So a
Yeah.
game that is made for absolutely any x86 architecture is going to have to be rebuilt from the ground up or
Hmm.
re-exported, depending on your compiler or whatever, to work on that ARM core or that ARM platform, which is why I brought all of this up to say that's impressive for 6 weeks of work because there's no other ARM platforms. So they would have had to put a buttload of work into from the ground up getting that going.
Well, it seemed or Nintendo might have a really good translation thing to get people started with their port. Like, here's a tool to bring PS4 games over.
If they have a tool that can do that much work for people, then more power to them. That is insane.
And I'm excited to see what ports look like that have a couple months of work. Like how much better can this stuff look?
It will be interesting. I do believe that on the Switch, we did not get a large. Most consoles, the longer they're out, they seem to get better and more efficient and run better. I
Yeah.
really think that the Switch won from the very beginning. If you weren't the team that made Breath of the Wild, you didn't all everybody else spent the rest of their time trying to catch up to how impressive Breath of the
Well,
Wild / Tears of the Kingdom were.
Xenoblade Chronicles X is the other exception, which they helped make
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild.
yeah, they were part of the yeah. But again, so most games, and I say all of that because I didn't feel there was a real increase in the quality of the Switch games over time. As a matter of fact, it probably stayed the same or went a little bit downward as it
Yeah, as
became.
they tried to push it, actually performance got worse, like with the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and stuff.
Yep,
But Metroid Prime Remastered, that's one of the best looking games on the Switch. So you have some standouts for sure.
you absolutely do. But as a whole, it just so because of that, and what we're also again, there's a pretty significant power increase by all accounts between the Switch One and the Switch Two.
Yeah,
Like
it's a huge. In my in my mind, this is the biggest jump since we've had since N64 to GameCube, is what I would kind of guess, right?
for Nintendo, I think that would be fair to say.
Yeah, like it's a
Um,
huge power improve. Like
yeah,
just so much better. Like it's not even yeah. This like the Switch One is just like not able to do much at all compared to what Switch Two can output. And it's also cool that they're doing like these crazy fast read write speeds. So they're doing the same trick that PS5 is doing with the SSDs, but they're yeah.
okay, I know they're doing the same thing in theory, but again, it seems to be my role half the time. So I'm going to be a little bit Debbie Downer here. Other than Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man, have you noticed that the read write speed and amazingness on the PS5 was something that Sony talked about, checked a block for like 2 games, and now no, you're back to stupid load times, and because the
ah,
companies don't
I
want to put the time into optimizing for the platform and the feature.
I I don't agree. Like Returnal does it. Astrobot, those speed runs, I'm dying and instantly back. I think yeah, just throughout the whole system, like it's there. I don't have a bunch. I don't think the load times are bad on PS5. It's pretty
I didn't
insane.
say they're bad. I'm just saying that there are still load times, and it is increasing the longer the platform has been around. Because again, I feel like people have stopped putting effort into optimizing for that feature.
I gotcha. Okay.
That I guess that's more what
Yeah,
I'm getting at.
yeah.
Load times are continuing to increase, and I don't think it's because of complexity in the games.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
really
yeah,
don't.
it's with Switch 2. It'll be interesting too. Cartridges that have the game on it don't need to be installed on the system. That'll be an incentive, I think. The games are getting much bigger in this generation. That'll be an incentive for some people to do more physical media than the past, maybe if they're running short on the SSD, on the micro SD storage,
It's
perhaps.
possible. It's possible because at least whatever you put in, unlike say PlayStation or Microsoft, you have to put it in and
And
install it.
install it. Yeah, you can't read
Um,
stuff off the disk anymore. Yeah.
but again, I'm worried. I feel like we're going to have early Switch 2 time where that's the case, and then late Switch 2 time where there's going to be lots of download the rest of the game.
Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, Nintendo's pretty good about having everything squared away for their cartridges at launch because they don't do a lot of updates outside of like DLC and stuff.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean, actually, I'm not worried about Nintendo's games because yeah, they're wizards. I don't know how they compress and file size. I mean, it's
yeah, it's amazing.
Nintendo are wizards. They always have been, and it's why you can't discount Nintendo.
Yeah. Another, I guess, pre-order delay thing I just want to mention. I haven't seen this reported much anywhere else. Is I pre-ordered a good I had a hunch this might happen. So GameStop is selling these micro SD cards for the Switch 2. They're one of the few people making these micro SD express cards. And it's like, oh, let me grab the 1 terabyte one for $150. Because I saw Lexars were going for like 190 or so, or 200 even. And then, sure enough, once the pre-orders go live for the Switch 2, I checked their pricing again. It jumped to 190. Magically,
I'm
my
curious.
pre-order is locked in for 150.
I'm curious if they jumped after the pre-orders or if that was also a byproduct of the tariffs.
It could have been tariffs. Like those might be made in China.
Yeah, I would not doubt. I bet you that was more a byproduct of the tariffs than all of a sudden everybody wanting them because of Switch 2.
Yeah, and I wasn't monitoring, but it's weird. I didn't pre-order right away. I waited a good while, well after the tariffs were there. I think the price jump happened when Nintendo announced all of their stuff, and that's when GameStop updated all their stuff to
Mhm.
match what they wanted to be for launch. Because they probably knew that's when people were pre-ordering when the Switch 2 was coming out. So, I yeah, I saved $40 there, and 150 is about as
Okay,
most as I could cough up there.
you saved $40, but also Tim, how much did you spend on an SD card when the Switch One came out?
I was actually looking. So I was looking this up. For do you have that text thread that I sent you? How much
Man,
this crazy was?
I think it was 300.
It was expensive. I didn't buy the maximum size. I just know those were available. But yeah, I think it was $300 for a 512 gigabyte card.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I think.
and that sounds about right. I
Yeah,
couldn't
because I
tell.
was listening to an old podcast I recorded uh, around the Switch One launch, and we were talking about the SD card pricing and stuff. And back then, they were really expensive for, especially like 512 was kind of the most you could get. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of wild.
So I take that as my cautionary tale that I will gladly wait for those prices to come down a little bit. And since
Yes.
since I'm going to have physical collection anyways, I don't need to rush out to buy an SD card. I've got I'll get my physical games and have a lot
Yeah.
more room. So
And
it's not an issue.
256 gigabytes is a good amount if you are mostly physical, to be honest.
256 is a good amount for a Nintendo console because again, you buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. I'm going to
Yeah.
be interested. I mean, it's going to be powerful enough that hopefully I can play more of my multi-platform and third-party games there now, without
Mhm.
having significant compromises. But because you buy Nintendo game or systems for Nintendo games, and again, Nintendo are wizards, 256 is more than enough.
Yeah, and they're archiving and offloading of digital games and reinstalling those. It's gotten a lot better since the Switch One launched. Like it's actually pretty decent, and save data is backed up pretty well and all that.
Yeah, I know they have features and stuff. I don't really like, I don't back up and archive. I either download and play or get done playing and delete. I don't
You
uh,
delete your save data?
probably. I don't know. It's been a while since I've
Okay.
had it's been a while
Yeah.
since I've had to, but like I'm only talking if I have a digital game and I'm done with that digital game,
Sure.
I delete everything. I don't
Yeah,
keep
you
any.
probably have the save data still if you with NSO. It's probably
It's
there.
it's
Um,
possible. I
yeah.
guess I don't know. I don't go looking for it.
Yeah, I discovered in this process of like, what's it like to have two different switches and stuff to download save data.
Hmm.
So after you download a game from the virtual game card thing, if you hit the plus icon or X, I think that pulls up the menu about that game, like where you can get info about it. You can hit a button that says download save data if it's there, and it's just instantly there on your system, which is pretty nice. I think Pokemon and Animal Crossing are all the ones they're being weird about, which is still stupid.
Yeah, but
Um,
they were didn't weren't they difficult about saves in the first place? Like Animal Crossing was tied to the
yeah,
console
yeah, that's
at
what I'm saying.
first.
That's what I'm saying. Animal Crossing and Pokemon are the weird ones. Every other game, and after you do that initial download of the save data, from then on it'll sync. So if you say if you have two physical cartridges that are on two systems, whatever that on your same account, save data will sync if you are online and aren't playing at the same exact time the same save file, which would be a bad thing to do. But anyways,
I
I
don't.
thought those.
I bet you Nintendo would be able to stop that from happening. But I am more curious what would happen if, for example, you played the same game on two different systems while one was online and one was offline. What would
Yeah,
happen with that save situation?
yeah. I don't want to test that one.
Or
But
at least not on an important game.
yeah. So let's talk about our pre-order tales and outcomes.
That's yeah. I mean, we kicked that ball to you a while ago. I mean, I
Yeah.
tried. I wasn't able to. I was in line, and by the time my queue got refreshed, I got the dreaded, there are no more left option. Um,
You tried at all three vendors.
oh, not all three because I was not gonna sit there bouncing between them. I think
Okay.
I don't even remember. Was it GameStop or Walmart that I tried at? I don't
Probably
remember.
Walmart because GameStop was the next day.
Yeah, then yeah, it was Walmart, and I was one of those people.
Walmart was the one people were having the most success with, I should say.
Really, because
Yeah.
I was stuck in there just sitting in the queue. I did recently. I was listening. Call out here. I was listening to another podcast as well, and apparently I had missed. There was some people going around talking and saying, "Yeah, when you're in line at Walmart, their system is having problems. Get out of Safari or your web browser, totally close it, open a new tab," and it reloaded them back in the queue, and they had like 10 minutes to complete their purchase.
Yeah. Some point in the night, there was the queue's not active and just jump in. I was, so I jumped on about an hour ahead of time to get all my credit card information saved in advance because, like Target, I had an old card saved there, and I want to make sure all that was up to date, which was
Mm-hmm.
very good. I did that because Target's Apple Pay system was totally borked, so I had to use my one saved on file. Um, I was watching fellow New Hampshireans live stream, Jake Randall, who does all these pre-order. He guides us through the process, you know. So I was watching his live stream while doing this, and he was like, I had him in my ear, so he was like, Best Buy was like half hour late, so I was just listening to him. And once Best Buy went live, he let us all know, and we jumped on the Best Buy at that point. And so it was nice to have
I was wondering.
a little guide to help us through the night.
I was wondering where you were getting all your information because, man, you were updating Robbie and I left, right, and center. Oh, this is live. That's live. Try this. Try that.
Yeah, I should have sent you the live stream because it was such a fun kind of community event to get the
Yeah.
pre-orders in, and yeah, very helpful to just like helping us through the process and making sure we don't appear to the websites as a bot because you can do behaviors
Uh-huh.
that like we're gonna block you because you look like a bot refreshing
So,
too often or whatever it is. Yeah.
so Tim, I'm gonna call you out casually. So you got your pre-order in at Walmart, you say, or Target? Target, you say. Is that the only pre-order you got?
Well, I got a couple then. So the first success, the first
Tim,
win of
I'm
the
curious.
night.
I'm curious.
What, yeah.
How many is a couple? Isn't a couple two? How many
Uh,
pre-orders did you get?
well, I got one at all the available places.
You
that
have a
night.
few, not a couple. You have a few, Tim.
Yeah, so I didn't get to bed till 3:30 that night. I was my last order came in at 2:30 in the morning. So I started at midnight, and 2.5 hours later, got my last order in, and then I was on an adrenaline high for the next hour plus. I went to work at I was on 2 or 3 hours of sleep probably that night. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, Target was my first win. I was jumped in the Walmart queue kind of like right away. Just had it open to the side there, and was just like keeping an eye on it. But Target was the first just battle. So you get in your cart and you're fighting the system, which is just breaking under the pressure. You're having to type in your address over and over again because it's thinking it's. Oh no! What I actually it saved my address, which was good, but it was saying this isn't a verified address. Fine, we'll ship to bypass that. But basically, I was just hitting the place order button like 1,000 times and eventually worked. Oh, I had to respond to Chase during this process because they thought credit card fraud was happening. So I said, no, this is real. They probably blocked one of my prior ones that I did get through. And so I got the Target order. But yeah, Chase thought I was.
They're like, surely this guy isn't spending $500 at three different places in the middle of the night.
It wasn't that. It was the over and over again trying to ping their
Yeah.
servers. Yeah. But yeah, Target was the first cluster, and that was a successful victory. And I was happy to have that victory, but it was a June 11th delivery date for Target, as early as the 6th. There's a wide range there. So
Yeah.
I was very happy to have that one, but it wasn't completely satisfied. My ultimate goal would be the Best Buy midnight launch. At the store I picked up the Switch One and my other consoles. Like it's got a lot of history there. So that was the one
Well,
I ultimately wanted.
what I'm hoping for, if I can make the stars align, get my ducks in a row. I still have, a couple weeks, but I'm hoping I might be able to just show up at my local store because there's still talk of them getting extra.
I
And
think you could do that. You could line up and be there
and
at
and
midnight.
and Tim, I'm sorry, I have to be unfaithful to my principles, and I think I'm going to have to get the $500 bundle because
Yeah.
it's stupid. Even though I want physical cartridges, I cannot pay $30 extra for the same game. That it just,
Yeah.
yeah,
No. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be nice to have that in your system, showing the swap cartridges and stuff too. I know you're not into that as much, but you know. So then Walmart was the next success. At some point, like 45 minutes into it, me being in the queue, just like let me in, and then just stress free. Servers were working. I was able to just hit order, and it'll be here by 9 a.m. on my birthday, June 5th. Which I love that a console's launching on my birthday. It's such a cool thing.
no, I very much understand. I pay attention to like anything nerdy that happens on my birthday.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think I said it on a previous show, but my claim, the big one for me, is the iPhone officially came out on my birthday.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, I was in Iraq, but either way.
And then, so that was about 40 minutes in. Then for the next hour and a half or so, I was fighting with the Best Buy. Now, I heard if you were a rewards member that paid the $50 a year, you had no issues with those queues. They were just letting you in.
Really?
That's what I heard anecdotally. But so they had sold out at all the Best Buy inventory, and then I was still on the Jake Randall stream, and then they let it. That someone found out they had a brief restock of the Mario Kart World bundles, and I jumped right over there, refreshed it, because at that point everyone was yanked out of the queue because they had sold out. So there was no one in the queue. So I jumped over there, and I was just like instantly in, and I got my order in, and within like that 2 or 3 minute period of time, they sold out again. I was like one of the last to get a Best Buy order in that night at like 2:30 in the morning. It was such a high to finish the night on to do it that way. Yeah.
That really is phenomenal. Like I said, if I can't do a midnight, if I can get the stars aligned and I can't show up at a local store and buy one, I'll send you a text and be like, "Hey Tim, let me get one of them
Yeah.
extra."
So I got extras for friends. So I'm not gonna be a crazy scalper, dude. And then yeah, so that was the night, and I was just very relieved. I almost screwed up and like was trying. I initially had the Apple Pay screen up for Best Buy. It's like, oh no, I want to do the Best Buy credit card, which you can pay 12 months interest free. So I almost messed up and did the wrong. Because I was just like so tired and just like in a haze. It's like, oh crap, let me. So I'm glad that didn't mess up my order because I almost like, oh, I'm running out of time here. Let me make sure I don't screw this up. Yeah.
Would have been real bad if somebody would have sniped that out from underneath you because you were too busy changing your credit card or your method of payment.
Yeah, that would have been bad. So, yeah, it was a very successful night. It was such a memorable night, I should say.
Very, very successful night for you.
Yes. So yeah. And then the Nintendo is going to send out the emails tomorrow, I believe.
Oh, really? I didn't know they had dates that had. I mean, then again, I haven't been playing my Switch a lot right now, so I'm sure I'm not on an email list.
Did you sign up to be notified?
I didn't. I guess I never saw that there was a sign up for that.
Yeah,
I
there was
thought
a sign up if you had interest in it. You had to be like an NSO member for a full year, and I think it was like 50 hours gameplay time in the past year or something like that.
I know I
Yeah.
met both of those requirements, but I guess I never saw. I thought it was an automatic, like you didn't have to sign up, but if you met those requirements,
No, you had to sign up. Yeah, so
then that was
and the
my misunderstanding.
GameCube controllers, I think, are going up for sale early next week for everybody that's an NSO member, and then early access for those that are invited, I think, tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, that's one I'm going to want, but it's probably going to be 2 or 3 years before a good number of
Well,
restocks.
it's interesting. It seems they have a lot of GameCube controllers, at least at launch. And it's curious about the Switch pre-orders. I think the United Kingdom now, anyone with an NSO account can pre-order a Nintendo UK if you're over there.
Well,
They opened it up to everybody. So I don't know how this will go
we've
supply wise.
we as in the collective gaming community as a whole for like literal years has been talking about the Switch 2 coming. The Switch 2 is coming. So maybe Nintendo really just held off until they could flood the market, that there are going to be no stories about lack of supply or anything like that.
The rumor is 6 to 8 million in the first month or earlier. Like it's a crazy number they're talking about.
Look, I just care that they're available because, like, the last system that I had difficulty getting hands on, that I was able to,
PS5.
yeah, well, I'm sorry. I guess I forget about their difficulties with that
That
one.
was a fun time, right?
Yeah, actually, I guess the last one before that was the Wii. And
Mm.
man, I spent months just checking stores, waiting, waiting, waiting.
Yeah. No, that was an interesting time for the Wii. I missed out on that craze. I was not
Oh,
into gaming at the time. Fun
oh man.
stories though.
The Wii came out in November, and I remember there was a February that my wife was getting her hair done at the mall, and there was a Walmart nearby or a Best Buy nearby. I don't even
Mm.
remember which one I was at. That I was walking by, and I saw one there, and I was just like, "Oh man!" I had to. I wasn't going to spend that kind of money without asking my wife. So I had to drive back to the mall to, my wife's getting a haircut, and she just looked at me like I was stupid and was like, "Why didn't you buy it?"
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was how I got my Wii, just randomly there in a store.
Yeah. Very cool. But yeah, it'll be curious on launch day what supply is like. Like these things sold out really quickly in the pre-orders. But
Hmm.
I'm just so curious how short supply it'll be. Like, is demand much crazier than Nintendo thought? Like, it seems like
Yeah,
in Japan, Nintendo's saying they're not able to deliver everyone at launch, and will continue to produce them and send out emails, and
I wonder if
it
some
may
of
take
that.
a bit though. Yeah.
Two things with Japan. I wonder if it's a byproduct of one of two things. Either a, they're just misappropriating how many consoles for what market. Because if they're short in Japan, but it seems like over in Europe or in UK, maybe they just, I guess, misappropriated their own consoles. But also, I wonder because of that special cheaper bundle or model,
More
if
appealing.
that's yeah, if that's why they're not having enough supply for Japan.
Yeah, it seems like United States is equally popular. Like Australia seems like that's not as popular over there, but like France, it's like historic numbers in that country. Like it's interesting.
Okay, like I know that that we talked about that special edition Switch that's being released in just Nintendo or in Japan that only does Japanese language, which
Yeah,
is a really weird region lock. I kind of want to see some people test that to see what
and the
happens.
Japanese eShop as well.
Right, but again, those are it's not that it's saying that you can't put an American game in it. It's just somehow it's locked to Japanese language.
Right.
I'm really so I'm curious about that,
So they don't want people importing it for cheap.
but that's what I go back to then. Okay, fine. If UK and Australia, ignoring everything else, if I could get it at cost, if they're not region locked, maybe I just need to import one.
Do you know Japanese?
No, but not the Japanese. That's what I'm saying. The UK and Australia. If
Oh
those
yeah, you could
consoles,
totally get one from a different country. Totally work. It's region free. But yeah, I mean, you'd pay the shipping cost to get it here and all that. Like it's
but if we're push come to shove, if we're months from now and I finally got the money and I still can't get one, then it's good to know I can just import one. Maybe I
totally.
don't know.
Or a launch if you want one of mine. Let me know.
Yeah. Oh, I like I said, if my ducks are in a row, Best Buy is option number one, just because I want mine right away too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
And
if Best
GameStop's doing the midnight launch, but it's like, yeah, I don't know if you call ahead to the stores like a couple days before and see like midnight launch, can I show up? And I
my
think they might have
GameStop
an answer for you.
my GameStop and Best Buy are like 5 minutes walk from each other.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So I'll have options. I really want to try Best Buy, but if it doesn't work out, I'll do a midnight launch at GameStop. I don't care.
Very cool. Yeah. Um, any other Switch 2 stuff you want to chat about?
Well, you're the one who got the pre-orders, and I'm asking you only pre-ordered consoles. What game are you? I mean, what are you gonna?
Oh.
What's the
Yeah.
first?
Oh, I should say all three were Mario Kart bundles somehow. I did after this all happened. I did go back and I got a Pro controller at Best Buy. Um, this came in today. The Tom Talk case. It's like a super thin case for the Switch 2, which is basically the size of the Switch 2, and it is massive. It which should not surprise me because the Portal is the same screen size pretty much as the Switch 2.
Oh, is
Uh,
it?
it's 7.9 versus 8, so they're very close.
Yeah, point one. Come on.
Yeah, so so I've got that in. We got the SD card coming from GameStop. I am going to probably pre-order Cyberpunk on cartridge. Once I get a Best Buy rewards card coming up. That'll be $15, so I'm gonna get that and apply that towards that. I got Mario Kart, of course, in the bundle. I think that's about. Oh, what other accessories are
I know that
there?
I know that there's actually I wouldn't say large, but there actually is a respectable launch lineup. And yeah, some of it is some, remakes of older or re-releases of older
Yeah.
games, just Cyberpunk. But I will be honest, there are more than a couple games that I'm interested in. But the biggest one I actually plan on trying to buy at launch is going to be the Rune Factory 6 Guardians of Azuma.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've heard good things about those.
Actually, besides liking the franchise, because I very much like the franchise. The number one reason I am buying that game is because the physical release of that game, that one cartridge will have the full Switch 1 version of the game and the full Switch 2 enhanced version of the game on one physical cartridge. And I don't care if I never play that game, which I will.
Yeah,
I am giving a company money to say thank you for doing that.
that's so cool. I wonder if the save file would work between both systems because I've
I,
heard like save files, Switch 2 and Switch 1 are actually different binaries that have different save files. Yeah.
I think I don't know. Besides that, there's also I don't know like what enhanced features there are between Switch 1 and Switch 2.
Right.
That if there are enhanced features in the Switch 2 version and you play it on Switch 1, what if you can't access stuff as a result of that? So
Right.
I think they'll be kept separate, but I'm more curious if there will be any way for me to run the Switch 1 version of the game on a Switch 2 if I want to continue my save.
That would be curious. Yeah. Yeah,
Because
I'm very excited for the tech demo $10 welcome tour thing. I'm gonna be totally getting that for sure.
boy, that was no. I don't I am sure that is going to be lovely. I am
Yes.
also
It
refusing.
should be a pack-in.
Yes, it absolutely should be. But let's see. The Switch 1 didn't have a pack in. The Wii U
Deluxe edition.
only had a pack in on the deluxe edition. The
Yeah.
GameCube did. I'm sorry, forgot the Wii had Wii Sports.
In America. Japan did not have it.
Fair, but
good old Reggie,
but
fighting for the users, Reggie.
But by the end
users.
end of the year though, or by the end of the life cycle, didn't all regions have a Wii that came with Mario Kart?
Maybe.
I feel like
my Wii. I know my Wii Mini came with Mario Kart.
Yeah, maybe it was just the Wii Mini, but so the Wii came in America. It did in GameCube. The GameCube had no pack in. The N64 had no pack in. The Super Nintendo, I don't think had a pack in. Did it?
Super Nintendo came with Mario Kart World. That was a pack in.
You mean Super Mario World?
Super Mario World, yeah.
And then there were basically it's hit or miss.
And then the original system didn't it come with Mario or the Duck Hunt Mario bundle thing?
There were at least 3 different pack-ins at some point or another. There was the Mario bundle, there was the Mario and Duck Hunt bundle, and then the Mario and there was a Mario and Olympics with or track and field. Mario and track and field. That was again 2 games on the same cartridge back then. They had all 3 of those at some point.
But yeah, for all intents and purposes, Mario Kart World is almost a pack-in, but it's not because you're paying for it.
Yeah.
It kind of, yeah.
I'm curious numbers wise because you remember when the Wii U came out, nobody bought a white Wii U, that basic model with 8 gigabytes of memory.
Yeah,
Nobody bought
very
that.
rare system. Yeah, from what other reports and the GameStop reporting has been, basically it's like 70% bundles. I think is what we're hearing.
Well, but okay, did you also see that Mario Kart bundle is a limited time?
Yeah, until fall or something.
Yeah, well,
Which
I didn't think they gave official date on it,
I
but
think they
yeah.
said fall. I'd imagine they do a different bundle in the fall, right?
No, no, no. If anything, I see them getting rid of that bundle just so that they can bring it back at Christmas.
Yeah, I think that we'll have future bundles like with Mario Kart for sure. Because
At Christmas.
The Switch One, yeah, the Switch One had that bundle
The
forever.
Switch One with Mario Kart has been a Christmas sale every year since the Switch came out.
Yep, and they have special ones with red Joy Cons and all that shenanigans too.
Yeah, I'm glad that it seems like they're going away from the colored Joy Cons. While there were some that I appreciated, we already talked about. I prefer the look of a paired set of black ones or
I
whatever.
Yeah, I've never had black Joy Cons. I have 6 or 7 sets of Joy Cons probably. I don't have any black Joy Cons, so this will be the first. I do really hope we get some nice flashy neon Joy Cons at some point in the life cycle, because I do like the colors. I like the
I-
colors.
I'm curious what kind of third-party Joy-Con 2s we get, because I'm very much a fan of the Hori split pad.
Sure.
So I'm curious what we get along those lines from third parties.
Yeah.
But as a
But
whole,
from all the hands-on, people say these things feel great. All the controllers, they're not Hall effects joysticks, but I think they're being coy in using magnets that aren't patented. I think it's a Nintendo version of that technology, is my hunch based on people that are familiar with what Hall effects joysticks feel like, and comparing that to what the Switch 2 controllers feel like. I think they are very similar. They're just using a slightly different way about it to not pay the patent fees.
business and business, I understand.
Yep. So
Um,
I'm excited to try out these controllers.
Tim, what was your opinion about the circle pad on the 3DS?
At the time, I did not mind it, but I think it would give me agita trying to play with these things again.
Yeah, no, no. I'm more talking just not the size of it, so to speak, and its location. I liked the feel and the glide of the circle pad. I really did.
It's not bad. I miss you can't click the stick in.
But I feel like that's a minor. They could have done that themselves. Like, I mean,
Sure.
that was a decision they made for because that was a portable system. But I was
Yeah,
just more
I
talking
do
about.
prefer a real joystick to that.
Uh,
It was a good solution for what it was. I do really miss that form
well,
factor of the clamshell.
well, and that's part of actually why I think about it for the Switch is because, yeah, with the nature of the portability and the sit down and the play in this mode
I
and the play in that mode, I
I would
feel like
love a clamshell Switch. They should make the Switch Lite 2 should be a clamshell somehow. I don't know. That'd be
I
cool.
just don't see it happening. I
I don't
just don't see
either.
it happening.
I don't either because like they're not going to put 2 screens on it. So what do you do with that bottom half of that Switch?
I actually, it would be really interesting if they make the Switch 2 Lite fold closed and then you open it up to play it.
Oh, like a folding screen.
Yeah, just
That's like
the
five
whole
hundred
thing is just
dollars.
yeah, the whole thing is just a folding screen.
Yeah, that'd be cheap, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
sure.
gosh. Right.
Based off the price of accessories and everything else, that would come out and it'd be $100 cheaper, just like the Switch Lite, right?
Right. Yeah.
No.
So firmware 20 came out for the Switch 1. And one surprise I think we all had was if you want to trade in your Switch 1 today, you can do that. And you can do this cloud backup to Nintendo servers that will wipe your Switch after you do the cloud backup and then have it ready for you to download onto a Switch 2, which is just a wild thing I did not anticipate Nintendo
Of all
offering
people.
this. Yeah. And you
I
get
mean,
maximum value for your Switch 1 earlier on.
it kind of makes me think of Apple like doing a time capsule backup or whatever, doing a
Yeah.
remote backup that you can restore from. I feel like Nintendo just took a page out of Apple's book.
I wonder if you could restore it to a Switch 1. Like, I'm not sure if anyone's tried that. Or if it's just Switch 2. It's like, oh, your pre-order got canceled? Oh, you're out of luck. You got a year to get it. Because they'll
That
save the backup for a year's time, is what I've
oh,
heard.
yeah, that is interesting. I mean, again, Nintendo being very Nintendo with how they do it. I won't speak too ill because that's a really appreciative thing, to do to make it where
Mm-hmm.
you can do that. Because how many people? I don't know. I've never personally had to deal with it because I don't trade anything in, but
Traded
I've
in
heard
GameStop, they're there for like 5 hours trying to get their system
that's
sorted.
what I've heard. Again, you know me, I don't trade things in. I have a collection for a reason. But yeah, I'm real curious about that myself.
Yeah, and you can do the local transfer as well. Then the virtual game cards was a feature they added, and they changed how the sharing works as well. I guess there was a way of having a primary and secondary system before that people used to have two systems with full access to everything, and um, yeah, I that was both good and bad because you had to be online with the secondary system, and I
Yes.
think yeah, so it had its pluses and minuses. I love that you can be offline for virtual game cards because like Switch is a portable system, and it's very cool. So that you can basically, if you're on the same account, you can link two Switches together, uh, and then at that point, you can browse your entire collection of purchases and download them to either Switch that's in your hand, and then they're off and running. Save data is synced, and you can download that to your Switch as well. So like, say if you have like a Switch Lite, you can download like your Final Fantasy Pixel remasters or your like your more your Shovel Knight stuff like that, and then maybe for your Switch Two, you download your bigger games. Your what do you call them? Blockbusters.
Your AAA,
Your triple
big
A's,
bucks.
yeah. So if you want to divide up your gaming life that way, you can now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I actually, I mean, I'm I want to see as it comes out the reality of how it works because that will matter to me because again that's one of the reasons I have my physical collection is before my oldest daughter moved out. I mean there were four Switches in my household. You
Yeah.
know, I'm down to three now, but
Okay. Oh, and you can share. So with the linking up of the systems, there's no restrictions. There's no 2 week limit. It's just there.
oh
But
okay
and then beyond that, I think up to 5 people on the family account can do
for
the two
sharing.
week the 2 week thing where it's like 2 weeks and then you have to reshare it or something
Yeah,
like that.
that 2 week thing is the one that I have a problem with. That is so
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's very ridiculous. And then
Actually,
the other thing I wish they would change is if you download a virtual card on one system, it nukes it from the other one. I want it where the other system it just becomes inactive, so I can more quickly swap between two systems versus having to re-download it every single time. Like, let me keep that storage there, and let me just like make this inactive, so if I want to move it back, I don't have to re-download it every time, which is a bit of a time thing. You need to be on
I
internet
wonder
for
what
that.
would happen if you kept the primary system offline while you put it to the secondary system and played it. Like
Yeah,
like that shouldn't nuke it, right?
it shouldn't. Yeah, that would actually probably work if you kept that one offline. I'd be curious to test that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
my only.
overall, it's a really cool system, and I love being able to just browse your entire library and just like, boop, I'm gonna download this here, download that there, and yeah,
I uh, speaking of related to the key cards and everything like that, the game key cards for purposes of collection, I it's still not a great solution, but I like it more than what I already had to do. Like for example, I bought Overwatch for the Switch, right? I bought it physically.
mm-hmm.
I have an empty case. It never had a cartridge in it. It
Yeah. I think
came
the
with
same
it
thing was for Wolfenstein Youngblood. You got a code in the box.
was yeah. And so like for people like me especially, I'm even okay understanding that that game card is just making me feel better about putting something in the box.
And it's
But
identical to like Xbox games. The disc is just a license key at this point, and it downloads it pretty much entirely.
and like don't get me wrong, it's still not the right answer for the digital future because no, I didn't buy a license. I bought the game. Period. If you want to play that game about to buy a license, fine. I won't buy your licenses, you know.
Yeah.
But at least this way, like also the availability again, not that it matters for me, but I know there are plenty of people out there that care. It makes it easier for things like trade in and whatnot like that. It is a better option than just a completely empty case. And
It
I'm here.
is.
I'm
Yeah,
I
and with your family, you could give it to your family. They could download it and use it, and presumably it wouldn't nuke the data when you eject it from the system like they do the virtual key cards, game cards. So if you change it between systems, you don't have to re-download every single time. The other thing I really appreciate is that it clearly says on the box, this is a game key card. With PlayStation, people are have to look on like the Wikipedia. Is this disc actually the game or is it just a download? Like it's more clear, I think, on this approach than Xbox and Sony's approach, where it's just like, here's a disc. Good luck with that. We'll see what it
Okay,
is. Yeah.
technically it's clear, but I am telling you right now, the
Parents
people
will be confused.
completely. For the record, I am not somebody who was confused by the Wii U, but when you consider that the game industry, which has been used to this upgrade cycle for decades at this point, was confused by the Wii U and reporting it could possibly just be an accessory for the Wii, and these were professionals. I actually know these game cards are going to confuse people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And again, I think it was Christian Spicer was talking about it, and he was like, or no, actually, I think it was somebody on the DLC podcast. One of them said that game key card, you're on a plane, you give that game key card to a friend, they're still no closer to playing that game because they still don't have internet.
Right.
So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
still not great, but I still will take it over the other options.
For sure. Yeah. Um, the Best Buy rewards program, the $50 program, I'm struggling with if I should do this or not. Right now, they have the promotion of every $150 you spend, you get $20 back in bonus credits.
What is the name of this rewards program? Because like the last rewards program I was signed up for,
Gamers Club Unlocked.
but like
That was a great one.
I still get from rewards through Best Buy whenever I buy pretty much anything.
Yeah, there's a free program that you're just automatically in.
Ah,
But there's two tiers of like ones you pay for. And I'm struggling to like decide, is it actually worth it, because it seems like you don't get any extra points, but what you do get, you get extra access to different like sales and like promotions like this, where
you were able
like,
to get your Switch 2 while other people were out.
that too. You get 2-day free shipping, you get member only pricing and discounts, early access to hard to find products. As a Plus member, get a jump on high demand products. So it says it right there that actually works.
Is a feature,
yeah. So it said in plain text, like we all should have signed up for that just for Switch 2.
I guess here's my opinion: is maybe sign up for that before the next time there's a console coming out. I think you missed the boat on needing it right now.
Yeah, and you get extended 60-day return window in most products. But yeah, and then exclusive access sales and events. But yeah, like right now the event going on is like if you spend $150 in Nintendo stuff, you get $20 back, and you can even do digital game purchases. Like you can buy the Nintendo Tour $10 thing digitally from Best Buy, and that would count towards it. But it seems like I won't get my money back because I'm not spending that much money on that stuff. I'd maybe get one certificate of 20, and that's not anywhere near the 50.
Yeah, but it's a question of, do you think you're going to get $30 of value out of the following year?
Right. Totally. And do I buy enough stuff to get the 2-day free shipping and all that? It's like,
yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare that I've had to actually ship anything from Best Buy.
I don't do a ton. So I think probably not. I so miss Gamers Club Unlocked. I was buying so many physical games back then because of that.
But the other thing is after how they did the Gamers Club Unlocked, they did it so dirty, how quickly they just pulled the plug immediately, all gone, just didn't tell anybody, just they yanked it out from under people. And it's kind of one of those fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, well, you're not going to fool me again.
It was such a good deal. I mean,
it was.
Yeah. It was 20% off every game at launch?
Okay, it's been a minute. I do not remember.
I think that's what it was.
I just remember.
Yeah.
That sounds right, because like that was one of the reasons why it was better to get new games there when they first
Yeah, totally. And then I just want, I guess, remind people the voucher program still is active and exists, and like Mario Party, the one that'll be on Switch 2, you can get that through the voucher for $50 and spend. You can basically get $10 cheaper than the full Switch 2 price will be that way. So there's in the if you don't have Tears of the Kingdom yet, you can get that for $50, and then as part of NSO, you'll get the free upgrade. So yeah, voucher program still very cool for digital people like me.
Yeah, at some point, like not Breath of the Wild, excuse me, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm going to go out and wait for that thing to be like on a stupid sale, like in a bin somewhere.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoyed Zelda back in the day,
Oh,
I did.
you've never played that
No,
one? Wow.
Breath of
Okay.
the Wild. I kept beating my head against that, thinking it wasn't clicking for me. But the God's
Hmm.
honest truth is, I absolutely, with every fiber of my being, abhor the breaking weapon mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it. It's one of the things I hate about Fire Emblem because they have a very similar mechanic in their games. It is a mechanic that at no point am I ever going to voluntarily keep playing. And
Okay.
I understand that Tears of the Kingdom, it took me a while to really accept that. And I understand that Tears of the Kingdom has, the giant, basically creative mode that makes it where you really don't care about weapons anywhere
You don't,
near as
because you can
much.
make your own weapons at will. Yeah.
But that's still, I don't want to spend 37 hours to build, one thing because I'm tired of my weapon breaking.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
being a little reductive,
Sure.
but that system alone destroyed my desire to play the games. It
I
is
got you.
that bad.
I got you. Okay. Um. Anything else Nintendo or Switch related before we move on to GTA 6?
No, no.
Okay. So we finally got the release date and a new trailer for GTA 6. And you were right, Jason. I was wrong. I was saying they're telling shareholders it's coming out this year, but no, we have a actual date, May 26th, 2026. A lot of symmetry to that date. And the
Hey,
other thing, I quickly realized that I've not heard barely any podcast mention this. But do these journalists not look at a calendar? Because they must have thought, hey, this is odd. It's a Tuesday. That's a weird day for a game to come out. Did they not notice it's the day after Memorial Day? And do you know what a big trend is these days? Early access for a game. And what would be more appealing than to have early access to GTA 6 over a holiday weekend? This is the
okay.
most brilliant, calculating, dirty
No,
business move ever.
you you
Yeah.
you said one word right there.
Dirty,
Dirty.
yes.
Like, you're totally right. I totally expect it to happen. I will be honest with you. In my opinion, this is the first thing by Rockstar that is a lack of goodwill towards their fan base. Kind of like how Blizzard used to be like the everybody loved Blizzard, but then they started, their quality started slipping. And same thing with CD Projekt Red. Everybody loves CD Projekt Red
And then
until,
Cyberpunk launched as a
you know, and
trash
so
fire.
I well and truly believe this is going to be the first black eye of Rockstar, making it where we're already going to charge at least $80 for this
Yep.
game, and it's probably not even going to be $10 extra. It's going to be more like
20.
20 to
It'll be
40 extra.
$100 to play it for Memorial Day
It
weekend.
might even be more than $100. I'm throwing that out there now.
Yeah.
And the thing is
Say
I
no.
get business is going to be business, but it is despicable, disgusting, and man, and what's really annoying is I don't normally play Grand Theft Auto, but especially with what just came out, the videos, my God, that is looking amazing.
Yeah. So the trailer
Like,
hit. Yeah. So the trailer hit running on base PS5. That's not PS5 Pro. And they said, Rockstar said, that's a combination of both gameplay, visuals, and cinematics. And I can't tell the difference between the two, which
and
is
they said
mighty
there's
impressive.
probably more gameplay in there than you realize.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
like the beer moving in those bottles was like, oh, that is just everything about it. Just like it looked just like the best. It looked like the best video game I've seen. Wow,
I that
it's
and again, that's Rockstar. I they make some pretty looking games.
they
So,
do.
and it's but also it's not just how pretty they are. That's what I want to get the system for, and actually kind of why I want to see how it'll run on the Switch too, specifically,
You think
is
they'll
because
release it there?
they said they're releasing it on the Switch too.
They did not.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Not confirmed for Switch 2 yet. They said, I think
I
they.
could have sworn Rockstar said they were planning to, like, not second party. Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty positive that we have no confirmation of Switch 2 at this
Is
time.
GTA 6 coming to?
Yeah, I think they've probably talked about. Yeah, Nintendo would be interesting to be in, but I don't think they've confirmed it yet.
No,
Um,
actually, I guess it's only a case of
I do wonder if they'll get GTA 5
hmm,
on Switch 2 at some. Like they're probably too busy to work on anything now outside GTA 6. But after 6 comes out, I wonder if they'll get 5 over to Switch 2 and what else they'll be working on.
That's okay, that's where it is. The official answer was, and this is in February. This was from the head of Take-Two, the publishers of Rockstar. There was a time when Nintendo platforms are really geared at younger audiences, and that was reflected in our release schedule. And now today, with the Switch and potentially Switch 2, the Switch device can support any audience. So while we have nothing specific to report, we actually would fully expect to support Switch 2.
Yeah, and
And
their
that,
trilogy runs great on Switch. I'd love to see GTA 4 and then 5 and eventually 6 on Switch. Like it'd be
but
cool to get them
again,
all on there.
the point I was getting at though is those background systems because that at this point, rock stars are the tech wizards of
Yeah,
gaming. You know, I mean,
totally.
they amazing looking games with complex worlds and systems running in constant interaction with each other.
Hmm.
It's technical masterpieces.
Yeah, and as I've talked on, I think I've talked on the podcast. I've been going through the GTA games for the first time. I played the entire trilogy, played 4. Now I know I have till May 26th to play 5, so I got some time.
Actually, I meant to say this earlier. I hate to say this, Tim. I don't think GTA 6 is coming out in May.
You think it's gonna be delayed past this Memorial Day plan?
Because they didn't get it beforehand. I could, yes, you're right. While your idea about the pre-order, and I agree that that pre-order probably is, or the enhanced
That's
edition,
their idea. They want to
if they make that
maximize
window,
Memorial Day.
if they make that window, they will. But here's the deal: we never got an official release date for Grand Theft Auto until now. This is the first release date, and it pushed to reach that. And I bet you if you look it up, you'll see that all the other Grand Theft Autos since like four got pushed more than once too.
But they gave us a firm date. They didn't just say it's coming in May. That seems more
Lots of games get firm dates and pushed.
okay.
Lots of games.
Yeah,
I'm
watch, Jason. Watch it gets pushed to July 5th.
that would be absolutely actually the that would be hilarious. There's no two ways about it.
It
That would just
would be.
absolutely
Or
hilarious.
we'll do the same strategy, but in July.
Oh, and it also seems somehow every bit as appropriate.
It really does. Yeah.
So I again, I this is I'm really iffy on this. I haven't fully decided where I fall, but I really am not thinking it's going to make that May date.
Okay.
And
Have
oh,
you
and that,
have you played GTA 5? I forget if you liked that one or played that
no,
one.
I stopped trying around GTA 3. Actually, not GTA 3. It was after GTA 3 because again, what I was going to say, you're playing through all the GTAs, but I'd like to point out you're playing through the 3D Grand Theft
Yeah,
Auto
I've not
games.
touched the 2D ones. Those must be
Okay,
trash, right?
no, no, they're fun. I very much like Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 when they're the top-down kind of game.
Yeah.
For the old heads like me, it has an old feel to the game, but it plays well. It is
Yeah.
still your Grand Theft Auto game, but it is so much fun playing in a different top-down type of view, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'd almost love to see the amazingness that is Rockstar make a wonderful non 3D top down Grand Theft Auto like
That'd
that
be
again.
wild.
Yeah.
I love just I love remasters of the originals on Switch or something.
Speaking of remaster, well, you know what? We'll hop on that in a minute.
Yeah, we will. Anything else on GTA 6? It looks amazing.
No,
Uh,
other than as somebody who normally had dropped out, it looks good enough. I might dip my toe in and try again.
yeah.
I've been burned with almost any franchise. I try again, it usually doesn't work out. But man, it is looking so pretty. I think I have to. I
Mm-hmm.
think I have to try.
We'll get those fans around that PS5. Put
I
put in
well,
some work.
well, maybe I can find like a blockbuster somewhere to rent it from before I buy it. I don't know.
Yeah, right. GameFly or whatever. That'll be back ordered for like
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
Well, let's get into what we're playing.
Well, actually, real quick before you do,
Yeah.
I wanted to take a jump off because of the way you said remake. Speaking of remakes,
Mhm. Okay. I lost Jason here. Right at the perfect time. Um,
Sorry, I'm
You
back.
you were back.
Yeah, yeah.
You're on the ultra wide camera again.
Oh, yep. I'll fix that. I was saying something.
Speaking of remakes,
Oh, speaking of remakes, did we get a chance to discuss the Elder Scrolls remake, or was that between shows?
we did not.
Okay.
Oblivion, is that the one?
Yeah. Is it a blue? Yeah,
Fifty
it's a blue,
dollars. It's on PlayStation for the first time, and then
and it looks
Xbox.
good.
Yeah,
It looks
and a good
so good.
price.
And it's a good price. It is a top down. I mean, it seems like everything other than the underlying systems, which may have gotten some tweaks here and there, but
Yeah,
I mean, complete new engine, complete new graphics, looks so good. And it's once again, if more companies would put this kind of work into their remakes and remasters and re-releases, you wouldn't have as many people complaining about it when they do.
for sure. Yeah. No,
And
I've no interest in playing it right now, but it's certainly of interest at some point in the future.
yeah, you do have, a habit of when you get into a series playing a game playing the entire series.
I
And
do,
believe me when I
yes.
say the Elder Scrolls series has a lot of time there. Um,
Yes, indeed.
while we're talking about Elder Scrolls, before we talk about what we're playing now, I am curious. Did you ever try Skyrim for PSVR one?
I know. I have it on Switch. I played like 20 minutes there. And yeah, it's on PS4 1. I've not touched it there though.
Tim, on PSVR one, you swim like this.
You do the breaststroke.
Yes, yes. it's
That's great.
I very much
Move
enjoyed it.
controllers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Total support of that. But anyway, so yeah, what we've been playing, and Tim, you've been playing a lot more than me. So why don't you start with some of
Sure.
your games?
I so within a couple weeks, I now have the most played game on my Switch 1 throughout the entire generation of the past 8 years. And that's Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I'm still dabbling in it and not even finished playing it at 110 hours, I want to say, maybe a little bit more. This thing is a freaking masterpiece, man. The gameplay loop is so addictive. It is one of the most beautiful games on Switch, and it's just addictive as all hell with these upgrading these mechs and flying around and just exploring the world. There are enemies I still can't beat. I need to upgrade my mech even further and get even better, even though I've got this like one hit killer, but there's this like super monster that just like wrecks me still. And
Um,
the new content in X, they added a whole new chapter, like a multiple part chapter that's like kind of feels like more than one chapter even, and it is wildly awesome. Like they finished the story. Like the Wii U version just ended, and there was no satisfying conclusion to the story. This one goes some wild places story wise, and it's cool, and it
I
kind of connects in the 1 and 2 even a little bit.
I dipped my toes, and I actually did more than dip my toes. I probably played 25, 30 hours on the Wii U version of Xenoblade Chronicles X. I very much enjoyed it. I love JRPGs. It just fell
Yeah,
under that It just falls under that category of I never finish games. I guess I don't
sure.
know. But yeah, no, I very much liked it. That is a series that, especially now that they are all on the Switch,
They're all
I'm
there.
tempted to go back and rebuy it just to have them all, and because I have compulsion problems.
Yeah, you can buy all the cartridges. There are retailers that still have available all 4 games or 5 with Torna, I think.
I don't. I
Yeah.
first of all, can't you buy that like in? Can't you buy a Xenoblade Chronicles that has it with Torna on it?
No, it's a separate cartridge, to my knowledge.
Are you sure? Like I
I'm
know it is.
pretty
I know
sure.
it is. I know it is a separate cartridge, but are you sure there isn't one that have both of them?
I don't believe so. You can download it digitally, of course, but I don't believe there is a pack that has it on the cartridge. It came out with after 2 shipped, so I don't think they did a cartridge with 2 and Torna on the same one. I don't believe so. But yeah, it is amazing. This entire series is on Switch, and the quality of life adjustments they made to X are phenomenal. They did this thing where during a course of a battle, you can spam certain arts a certain number of times. You have like this gauge that's filled up. So if you have a way, you can build up your overdrive mechanic with that art that does it, and it just makes everything's just kind of streamlined. And one of the things they also did was to do the add members to your party. In the Wii U game, you had to find them in the world and ask them, "Do you want to join my party?" Every time. In this game, in the Switch version, you just go in your menu and say, "Oh, you're in my party now." So you don't.
That
All
is a
these,
nice quality of life improvement. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. They did so many that, like, yeah, they a lot of annoying things were just cleaned up so nicely in this
That is one thing
version.
I love about a JRPG is, I mean, I love them. They all tend to have weird, whatever idiosyncrasies. But man, if almost every JRPG couldn't use a 1.5 update, like a major, or more like a 1.9, just shy of
Yeah,
making a new one. And I do mean that pretty much every JRPG could use some serious revision like that. But I am glad you're enjoying that. Like I said,
yeah,
I,
amazing.
I've dipped my
And the
toes.
visuals are just like unparalleled. It's like one of the best looking games on Switch, in handheld even, which it's impressive because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 had their problems. This is just like, whoa,
And
they did it. And it's there's no loading screens. You can go through basically this entire world, fly out of New LA, and it's just one continuous thing with no loading pretty much anywhere. It's wild. Um, yeah. And I
yeah,
love
no,
how each hexagon has something else to like. There's something to do in every portion of this map, which is just wild.
and it is quite a large map. Monolith is second party, right? They're not a
It's
Nintendo, or
first. It is
Monolith is
first.
first.
Yeah,
Okay,
and they help out with all the Zelda games and stuff. They're an
yeah.
integral part of Nintendo's. They're almost in every Nintendo game we
Were they
watch, at least
were
the
they
big ones.
always a first party,
No,
or
they bought them after
okay?
Xenoblade Chronicles' success, I believe.
Okay, I could have sworn they had been separate at some point because yeah,
Yeah.
it's they are going to become every year that goes by, they're becoming more and more of a Nintendo powerhouse and Nintendo staple. I mean, it
Yes.
really is
Yeah.
like they're going to become the next EAD or whatever.
Yeah. When you see that logo, people flip out like me. Like it's, and I'm expecting something soonish from them. Hopefully, unless they've been too busy with getting X up and running on Switch. That's my only concern, because it's been a while since 3 in Future
Yeah,
Redeemed. But I I also wanted to just yeah. I hope it's X2. I want a sequel to X now that I've seen what this proper story ending is.
yeah. It'll be interesting if they end up making two separate Xenoblade series.
Because I played through. I don't know if Xenoblade Chronicles is at an end. Like, do they do a 4, or do they start something else? Xenoblade, a new series, separate but somehow connected. Because I played Future Redeemed as well. That's the story DLC to 3, and I won't spoil it, but I'll just say, wow, very good. They wrapped up that story in a cool way. Your party is just filled with wild, just like fan service galore. Like it's a delight, and it was a very meaty game. So it's like a $30 DLC, and it's a good 15 to 20 hour experience. I could probably put 30 to 35 hours if I wanted like 100% the world, because there is exploration and stuff like that in this game too. Future Redeemed, and you can really fill out the map and like bring people into the city that you're a part of, and so there's a lot to do still in Future Redeemed, but it was surprised me. It was a good long DLC. Like it was a meaty one and very very satisfying, and made me want to play more Xenoblade Chronicles. But that's it for now.
You're going to
Nothing else on
restart
the
the
Switch.
entire franchise again.
Right? Yeah, I'll start at the one again. Because the original game, if you put it in easy mode, you can finish Xenoblade Chronicles 1 in like 20 hours or so. It's actually a pretty
You know,
streamlined game.
people like you say that, but you also don't understand how people like me play video games.
You can't do easy mode. You refuse.
It's not just I can't do easy mode. I can't. For example, Pokemon is an easy game, right? But
Yeah,
every
yeah.
time a new Pokemon game comes out, I speak to every single person in that game. And I do that 2 or 3 times every time I pass by the first couple of times because I need to make sure there isn't something that they're going to, oh, after you do this, if you come back and talk, he's going to give you a Pokemon or he's going to give you a ribbon or a whatever. I am such a on a map. If it's
Yeah.
obvious that when I'm walking over there, oh, there's nothing left over there. I can see the wall. If I don't get close enough for it to fill in my mini map to show the wall there, it's not complete.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
That may be why you don't finish games, Jason. Have you thought about this?
I very much have, and I've tried to be a different person. I can't.
So, like with Metroid Prime, you need to get a 100% save file before you finish it.
Okay, but that's just it. It's so weird with the games. Like if it depends on what you need at 100%. Like if it's something a case of,
Like, could you finish a Metroid game without getting all the super missiles unlocked?
yeah, see, I that isn't as much a concern of mine as much as did I explore the full map? Did I fight? I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
care
Okay.
about that kind of an upgrade thing. But did I
Yeah.
go? It's weird. I know I've got my idea, but you're right. That
Yeah. Yeah.
probably is why I don't finish a lot of games.
Sure. Yeah, I gotcha. Another RPG I've started. I'm about 90 minutes into. Is the original Final Fantasy VII on the Switch.
I know. Okay, you're 90 minutes in. About where are you? Like story wise.
Uh, Cloud is cross-dressing right now.
Isn't that boy? That is so
Which,
much different in the
yeah, when I play the remaster, it's like this is odd. And it's like, oh, this is from the original game. Wow, that's something.
yeah.
Yeah, and so there's some quality of life things here where you can turn off random encounters if you're just trying to get somewhere. You can
Yep.
turn on where you're basically invincible. You have unlimited health and limits. Limit it just makes you max the limit all
Max
the
limit break.
time,
Yep.
which just makes you just dominate everything. Except it's kind of annoying with Aerith, who just heals and can't actually fight when you have that turned on, which is kind of funny. But Cloud's there to help. And then yeah, the 3x speed, so you can walk 3 times the speed and all that as well. So that's some nice quality of life things that'll turn on and off depending. I just kind of want to experience what this is, and I don't care about the challenge. You'd probably find this infuriating to
Actually, see, I have no problem with quality of life improvements like that. The only one I was about to say, man, a lot of it sounds great, except for when you were talking about the automatic limit break. Because what I was going to say is Final Fantasy VII Remake looks amazing. I prefer the combat in Final Fantasy VII OG.
Yeah, I should probably try it without limit break sometimes, but I'm just trying to get
It's
through it.
not. It wasn't just limit break. I like Final Fantasy VII, and there could have been other JRPGs, but as far as I know, Final Fantasy VII was the first one that really started pushing this. It started the active turn battle, active time battle, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the first major JRPG that it's still turn based, but how it works and how your turns line up.
Well,
And
there's
everything.
like a spinning wheel, like a wheel of fortune thing I noticed too.
Okay, there was no spinning wheel in the original game. I don't know what the hell you're
I'll have
talking about.
to show you a screenshot of what I'm seeing here.
Please do, because I don't know what you're talking about.
There is like a spinning wheel when you're like doing some of the attacks.
Huh. Oh, wait a minute. Is it possible you're talking about Tifa's attack, her limit break?
Or Barrett, I think maybe it's like is it gonna hit or not hit as well or something?
Okay, yeah, he's got their limit breaks in the original version. Some of the limit breaks had weird either button presses or different things that you were involved. Okay, I thought you meant there was just like on all combat, but I guess maybe it is all combats if you've got the
pretty
limit
much
break
I'm
always
like a
on.
god in this mode. Yeah, it feels like I actually wouldn't need to level up probably at all to win since I have unlimited HP. It could just like boom.
So okay, here's my question, Tim. As I only have I've stepped my foot my toes in, and you'll see on the Final Fantasy VII remake. I started playing it before, dropped off. I was restarting it recently. But so I have not completed Final Fantasy VII remake, less yet Final Fantasy VII remake part 2. I haven't even touched that.
Yeah.
But
where are you at with the remake with your new playthrough here?
Well, no, I mean, because again, I only recently restarted it because of the hotel situation with the internet.
Okay.
So I'm actually we broke back out of Shinra, on my remake that first time.
Yeah.
That first Shinra going through town, just getting to know everything again.
Cool.
But here's the question, Tim. I know for a fact that not only is the story different in the remake and the remake part 2, but the story isn't complete. Are you afraid of spoiling yourself with the original game?
I don't think I am.
And it makes it hard.
But it's weird because like so far there hasn't been many divergent things.
No.
It's like so far it's been like, oh, this is almost exactly what I've done. Just like it's kind of cool.
Early on, there are not a whole lot of differences and divergences. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But it does, and if nothing else, part of the differences are they expand the story a lot more in remake and
Mm-hmm.
remake part two. Part of the reason they take content from like the offshoot games that have come out and they sprinkled and peppered in some of the story elements throughout.
Yeah.
So I say that because like right now there's stuff I want to talk about, but it's like I don't know if I should mention something in the story because I don't know where that falls in the remake, the original,
Yeah,
what
and I don't know
what's
if
where.
I'll want to stop playing when I hit the end of where Rebirth finished or not. I don't know if I'll want like I feel like I probably should just experience this cuz I might appreciate the final act of the trilogy more if I understand the base material cuz like one thing I now understand is Barrett singing da 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 da, and that is when you win a battle in the original game for every battle. It's like, whoa,
Oh my
that's
god!
so
Wait a minute,
cool.
Tim, is this your first Final Fantasy game?
No, I played 16.
You didn't recognize that music? That music was in 16.
It
It was
was.
it
I
was
totally forgot about that in
I was
16.
about to
Yeah.
say it's rescored. You know, it sounds a little bit different, but that's called Fanfare. That song has been in Final Fantasy, to the best of my knowledge, at least since seven, though even older. It might have been six.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that's what Barrett sings. It's like, oh, that's
yeah.
so cool.
I
And it's funny not having voice acting. Like I'm reading everything, and it's
yeah.
kind of different. Yeah. The music too, it really hits. Like, oh, I could hear where this all came from the remakes, and
Yeah.
it was
Um,
cool to hear that they are planning on bringing the whole trilogy to Switch. The remake trilogy they announced.
okay, so I own. You said you're playing Final Fantasy VII on Switch. I'm guessing you have it
Yeah.
digital, right?
Of course.
I have it physical.
Oh, that was on the cart too, because it was not part of the Pixel remasters. It's separate from that.
Oh no, I have a double pack cart that has Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII on cartridge.
Oh, very cool.
I have
Nice.
for Switch. I have 7, 8, 9, 10, uh, 10
Pixel
2.
remasters.
No, these are all on cartridge, not Pixel Remaster, the original games. 8, 9,
Oh,
10, 10 2,
well, I was wondering
and
if you had 1 through 6 as the Pixel remaster
oh, I
collection.
have that too. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
talking the
yeah.
new, not the Pixel. These are because they basically re-released them,
Okay.
just the original versions. So like
Yeah, yeah,
again, I have the PlayStation 1 version of Final Fantasy 7 with the improvements like you're talking about. They
yeah.
did that for all of them.
Right.
And they released them physically, and that's one that I wanted. I was like, man, if I'm going to get the Final Fantasy games, I have to get the whole thing, you know?
Sure. Yeah. But it's pretty cool coming back to them, and you have the different save points. They didn't patch in like save anywhere, which is not a huge deal on Switch because you just put it to sleep.
Yep, yep.
But if I played this on PlayStation, that would be kind of annoying. I think.
Oh yeah, it was a lot harder back in the day on PlayStation when yeah, you let that game run if you didn't have a way to save and you're getting ready to go to
Yeah,
school
like
or
it's nice
whatever.
having the Switch where you can just put to sleep. That's super cool. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool going back to that. That's anything you want to say about remake? You're playing that.
I'm sorry, you broke up. Just
Anything more you want to say about remake?
no. Hopefully I can get back to some better internet, and because the game I'm now making my way back through not back through. I have gotten back to
Mm-hmm.
is Metaphor because I'm in a hotel. I'm traveling
Yeah.
right now, and when I first started traveling, we were talking about remote play. I purposely left my PS5 at home and brought the Portal to
Yeah.
see if I could remote play, and
Not having it.
I could barely even run around in Metaphor without it wanting to disconnect for some
Uh,
bullshizer reason or another.
but streaming from the cloud works strictly from PlayStation servers.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
works fine. So that's how I use my Portal, and that was one of the reasons
And that's where you're doing remake from is from the
that's
servers.
why I
Yep.
picked because I have Final Fantasy VII Remake physical for PS4,
For
but I do not have the Integrate or the PS5 version of it.
yeah.
Whereas the PS5 Remake Integrate is streaming, so
Yep.
may as well just stream that version.
Yeah. And you definitely
But
want to play Integrate as well before Rebirth.
oh yeah. So because of that, what I'm really getting back to is the metaphor, and I say getting
Metaphor.
back
Yeah,
to
how was that?
oh, I'm loving it. I really am. I think I'm about 20 hours in. My save file is bonkers on me because I thought I had suspended the game and it was running. So I think my time says in the 40-ish hour range, but I think 20 of those hours are just idle time. Uh, I think I caught that one day right away. I really like it. Other than, man, I, it is old school kind of grueling. You know, those people. I'm one of those people who like I normally save everything when I play. Like I'm hoarding all the things I can get my hands on,
Yeah.
and I cannot hoard enough to be able to stay viable in the early game here. Holy hell.
Is it there are difficulty levels, right?
That's a good question. I have no idea. You
Okay.
know me.
I think there might be.
There probably are. I think
And yeah, I heard Robbie turned it down for the final boss because he was getting frustrated.
actually, yeah, I remember him mentioning
Which
that he
I
had to.
did with Persona 5 on the Switch. I was on the one difficulty level the whole game, then I turned it down to easy to actually finish the game.
I think I even said in the chat that who knows, maybe this will be the game that's going to let me turn down my difficulty finally because man, this has some dirty tactics that
Yeah.
it does to you,
Yeah.
man. And I got lucky once so far. I already almost got close to getting stuck on a save that I would have had to restart the game because there would have been no way to grind and get better. Um, but I got away from that, or I was able to get through that. But man, it's making me have to dust out my old school strategies of having multiple save files
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that.
Yeah. I wonder if which will come first to switch to Persona 3 Reload or Metaphor. Because I think, like in this June, hypothetical June direct, I think one of those two will be announced. I have to believe that.
I don't know because like I'm actually a big fan of the company Atlas, right? I like their
Mm-hmm.
games and everything like that, but they're another one who I just can't figure out their strategies. I really can't. They You would have expected all of the personas to have come out on Nintendo systems so much longer ago.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Well,
then
it
when they
seemed like they had a Sony like exclusivity thing for a long time.
was it an actual deal or was it just, oh, we're on Sony systems? You know, I
I don't
don't.
know.
And
Yeah.
but so I don't know. And again, Metaphor is the newer game, so it would make more sense for them to port that. But then again, I'm also just now playing through Metaphor. So can you guys port a Persona and give me a reason to
Yeah.
buy one of those?
Persona 5 is great on Switch 1. It seemed yeah, I want 3, I think, reload for sure.
Yeah. See, I guess at this point, with knowing the Switch Two is coming, I don't care what, just release it on Switch Two so I can play them there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah, totally.
Uh,
Yeah. Art style is what is the art style? Is it similar to Persona games?
okay. I think overall, because there's a lot of anime cutscenes, it does have. There are times it's got. I don't. I'm not sure I'd call it cell shaded, but sometimes walking
Mm-hmm.
around the inking, it has some interesting looks that it looks like a variation of a cell shaded type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I do love the anime scenes and cut scenes and everything like that. But I'm an anime fan anyways. Um, so I mean, I like pretty much everything about the game, other than its random vicious difficulty.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm okay with the grind. I mean, there's nothing I haven't been able to grind my way through yet, and the grind, unlike Shin Megami Tensei 5 that I was playing, the grind seems to get me somewhere.
Mm.
Shin Megami Tensei 5, it is possible to literally grind in a circle. Um,
Yeah.
and I say that because have you haven't played any of the Shin Megami Tensei games?
No.
Okay, I haven't played Persona, so Robbie has played both, and he says that things are very similar between them. But Shin Megami Tensei, especially 5, in my opinion, it feels like it takes elements from Pokemon because you have these demons that you catch to add to your
Mm-hmm.
party. And this is why I say it goes in a circle because, and I'm going to pick random. Imagine if you could combine a Pikachu and a Pachirisu to make a Pichu, and then you could combine
Mm.
a Pichu and something to make a Pikachu, and then a Pikachu and something else to make a different way to make a Pachirisu. There are so many circles that you make something stronger and then it makes something basic. And
Yeah.
whereas Metaphor Refantasio, at least you're grinding through the classes, no real problem there. I do like the classes. They have some interesting unlocks in them. There's a gunner class, but before you can get that class, you got to find an engineer type character to make, to enhance your relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
and then it unlocks more classes. And I like the classes that there are. I like the systems involved with it. Other than the resources that it gives, the lack of resources you get, and the difficulty spike, it's phenomenal.
Nice. Um, one game that does not let you change its difficulty levels is Metroid Prime Remastered. And I booted this back up because I gave up during the mines area, which has a very notoriously long time between saves. And so I booted this back up, and I started there at the hardest point in the game after taking like a year off from it. Great idea. So I reacquainted myself with the controls, and I'm happy to say I've now beaten the game after I think it was like a 17-hour runtime, and really phenomenal game. Really bloody hard at the end there. Really wish I could change the difficulty level, but I stuck it through on the normal one that I started the game with. Um, if 2 and 3 come out, I might use easy mode because, oh man, some frustrating moments for sure. And yeah, there's no like autosave. When you die, you have a lot of redoing what you just did kind of thing.
How many Metroid games have you played? I mean, I think I remember you saying you played Dread, right?
When Dread came out, leading up to that, I'd played all the 2D ones in chronological order. So I
All?
played I played all of the story ones. So basically, the original Metroid had a remake on GBA, I believe. So I
Mhm.
played. So I did, and then for Metroid 2, I played the 3DS Samus Returns, which is a remake of that. So I played all of them in their best form, I would say.
Okay, actually, the one in particular I wanted to ask about is a fan unfavorite that I actually really enjoyed. Metroid Other M.
I did not play that one.
Ah,
It was not part
I
of the traditional 2D Metroids leading up to Red.
okay, but here's the deal. I kind of think it is, in my opinion, it's traditional 2D, but it gives you like what I love is I mean, you're using the Wiimote, holding it sideways, playing it
Mm-hmm.
2D, except every once in a while, and for some bosses, you take the Wiimote, point it at the screen, and then you're like locking on to people as
Yeah.
you shoot them. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved it. I
Okay.
mean,
At some
I don't
point, I need to
understand.
play it, but yeah, I played most of them, I should say, except for the 3D ones. This is my first time with Metroid Prime, and I played with the modern controls, and I played a bunch of this actually on TV. I had TV time with this, and beautiful. I used my Pro controller, and it was a fun time, I must say. And some I had some cursing out loud moments with this one with the boss fights and stuff. Like, yeah, I was just getting all worked up at the end there, and those freaking Metroid at the end just hug. They face hug your face like you're in the Alien movie, and it's so infuriating, just like trying to get to the final boss without getting sucked of life, you know.
Yep, yep, yep.
But it does remind you so much of like, especially in 3D, of like Alien. Like you see where the face hugger that inspiration came from in Metroid. Yeah.
The original, I'm sorry, the Metroid Prime games do way more invoke the same kind of dread that Alien does, where you don't
Yeah.
see the enemies often. It's more atmospheric, you know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if honestly, if Nintendo wanted to make it a horror franchise, they easily could.
Yeah. And then my one annoyance was I had to do a crap ton of backtracking to get all the relics or whatever to actually get to the final fight. So I spent like 5 hours just trying to find my way through the world to like, oh, let's go over to this other side of the map here. How do I get there? It was quite the
Yeah,
trek.
that is literally the entirety of what a Metroidvania game is.
I'm aware. I think I would have had to do less of it if I was more aware I needed those things while playing originally. I think
Speaking
as a first time player, it's like, oh, I actually need these to finish the game, don't I?
Speaking of Metroidvania, I have to ask, do you play or have you played many of the Castlevania games?
Never played any of them.
Oh,
You know,
Tim.
who likes vampires? I mean, let's be real.
Okay, look, I'm gonna have to find out. I am one of those people that I fully believe that Symphony of the Night is like the pinnacle of the series from the
I've
PlayStation
heard
1.
that's what people say. Yeah.
I want to check because I think it is possible to play that on Switch. I
I
think it was
think
released
so.
in some collection of something, and if so, Tim, I'm telling you, especially because again, there's a reason it's called Metroidvania, right? That formula,
Yeah,
the
I just know the
games,
Metroid part of the.
but that's just it. Is especially going back to, did you play? I'm sorry, did you play? Say you played Super Metroid?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I mean the map and a room here that you got to backtrack here, and then you get
Yeah,
something that is the exact same thing with Castlevania. That's
yeah.
why they're called Metroidvanias.
The cool
And
thing
I
with the 2D Metroid games, you're done in like 6 hours each of them. Like they're nice and condensed games. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've played them. I definitely know Symphony of the Night, because it's got plenty of RPG elements, is going to go longer than that number of
Yeah,
hours.
but I did really enjoy my 2D Metroid marathon because it was just like very satisfying, perfect condensed kind of experiences. Yeah.
What's your favorite Metroid at this point?
Dread, I'd probably say. I
Really?
think Dread was just phenomenal. Um, it took what was great about the old games and just modernized it in cool ways, and the visuals, especially that OLED screen, just looked so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I like 2D Metroids better than 3Ds, but I've only played the one.
I that probably is not unfair to say. I mean, don't get me wrong, as I understand it, I mean, Retro made absolute magic with the 3D Metroids, but
Mm-hmm.
the game is still better as a 2D, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm eager for four. Four looked great, but I really want two and three to be more accessible, so I don't have to play them on my Wii U leading up to four, because that's gonna be a bit of a challenge. Because like I've got the sensor bar hooked up, I've got the Wiimote at the ready, but like it's kind of it's kind it's a pain in the butt. You have to sit far enough away from like your monitor for this motion to be detected, and I've got like a 27-inch monitor, so it's not like I got this huge TV to like be looking at, and it's kind of annoying. I like to be sit close to my monitor when playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand why that would be difficult for you, but it's the
But yeah,
price
I
we
have to play.
pay.
I have to play two and three before four. Like my OCD nature, I don't think would let me that happen.
Tim, I think I should just start buying the games and sending them to you for you to play through and complete them for me. And then you can
Sure,
just send them. You can send them back. I mean,
sure, yeah,
when I get back from the hotel, I'll take a picture of my shelf and be like, "What do you want to play next, Tim?"
yeah. But I have the Metroid trilogy on the Wii, so if Nintendo doesn't pull through with this June direct that I am believing will happen, then I'll have to do it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then Donkey Kong Returns HD. I did get another voucher set. I got that along with one of the Kirby Return the Dreamland that I never played on Wii.
You're
So
just
I got
prepping for Switch 2 stuff, right?
yeah. Well, I wanted to clear the decks of like what are the first party Switch games I actually missed out on that are interesting. The other one I missed out. I don't have the Luigi's Mansion 2 for Switch yet. Um,
3.
but yeah,
Wasn't
two. I have three, but they
Oh,
came out
they
with the
did.
two
They did.
remaster.
I forgot they did make the 2 remaster. My
Yeah,
bad.
so at some point I'll pick that up. But yeah, yeah. So I've got most of the first party stuff at this point, and I gotta say, HD looks beautiful. Those loading screens look amazing on the OLED with like they're all black except for like 20% of the screen. Just like I'm so curious when Switch 2 launches. That'll be a great compare for like how bad are the blacks compared to this OLED, because it's gonna be I think worse on the Switch 2, but we'll see how much worse.
I am really curious because you sent me the link for that OLED screen for you to do your own swap on a Switch 1. I wonder how
Yeah.
long it'll take somebody to release screens for you to do your own OLED swap on a 2.
Well, the thing is, it could be a while if you want the same specs of 120 hertz, because that's more rare to have the fast frame rate ability. So I think that might be. Yeah, I'll be curious to see if someone has a screen that can do that tech with 1080 at 120 hertz in OLED.
I'd be curious, but I'm also be honest with you. If I were to, I'm not sure how much I care about 120 hertz. Um, I had okay. There are some people that can look at a screen and tell if it's got a super high refresh rate. There's an uncanny valley disconnect looking at
Mm-hmm.
them. I'm one of those people. If the refresh rate is too high and or doesn't refresh uh, equally across the screen, it gives me weird effects watching it.
Okay.
It makes it look more artificial to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably will be okay with not having a 120 hertz screen.
60 is your comfort place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's just it. Is I don't. I think part of the problem, and I may not notice it with video games because I notice it with the media that I watch, is not everything is filmed at that many frames. And so it's like there's a disconnect between the number of frames used for filming and the refresh rate being so much higher than that.
Yeah, with
So maybe,
movies are different for me
yeah,
versus video games. Video games, I'd rather have the high refresh rates, but yeah, with
and
movies,
I like
yeah.
high refresh rates too, but I can't say that I've ever noticed it. So that was me kind of more thinking out loud. Was
Mm-hmm.
maybe video games I could use that 120 hertz and it not be a problem, but watching movies and stuff at too high a refresh rate just creates a visual disconnect for
Sure,
me.
no, for sure. Well, I think that is it for this week. I think the next we may record one before Switch 2 comes out, like at the very end of May. We'll see. But otherwise, it could be Switch
At,
2 by the time we talk again.
I was about to say at this point we may as well almost plan to just record one evening of or shortly after the Switch 2 comes out just to talk about it.
Right. Yeah. A birthday podcast.
Yeah, actually, we'd have to do
I
it a little
probably won't
later.
have
Let you
time.
celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, I probably won't have time that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, month away. Crazy.
1 month.
Man, we're in a pre-Switch 2 world for one more month.
Here soon though, when the Switch 2 does officially come out, I'd like us to take a moment and do a funeral / retrospective / send off of the Switch 1.
Well, that'll be a thing. Will the Switch 1 continue on for 5 more years?
I don't. If it continues on, it's going to continue on just getting Just Dance every year type of thing.
Well, we're at least getting titles in 2026 from Nintendo.
I know.
Wonder how long they'll. Yeah, it depends how long the uptick is for Switch 2, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Switch 1 will live on as a game share device, as we know.
so that you don't have to buy a bunch of Switch, or so that you, like me, I don't have to buy 3 Switch 2s right away. I can game share.
Yeah.
I can game share to my ones in the house.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, that is a very much I have a feeling that is how my family will be playing Mario Kart for a while.
Yeah, I'm the tabletop game. I'm curious if you guys would play that and wonder what the experience would be like there.
The tabletop game.
There's a game on the Switch one.
Oh, Clubhouse. Clubhouse
Clubhouse,
games.
yeah.
Yeah, I have that.
Do you have that? Okay, so that'd be interesting if you play around with
that. Honestly, when I say officially my wife has that. There are about 3 games she owns, but she doesn't play many of them very often. So maybe I can pull that one out and see how it works.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, anything you want to promote, Jason, before we wrap it up?
We know I don't promote anything. I'm Risen
cool.
Devil out there. If you see me on a video game system, if you see anybody Risen Devil out there, it's me. Video game system,
deal.
online in general, whatever.
Sounds good. And my handle is at TCHATEN at Mastodon.world for Mastodon and other places like that. And we'll talk again at some point next month or so. So thanks for listening or watching. Bye.
Later.